you check the children? Your little master.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the horror show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Davey Deathray.
And Jaime Fuego here.
And we are here to do a menage a trois, you guys. That's right. There are three of us sitting down.
Three becoming one. Woo.
Exactly.
Yeah, much more exciting.
Wonder what that's going to look like.
Much more difficult, too.
So, yes, guys, we are here to talk about Together.
Yes.
And this is one that has had some controversy behind it leading up to the release, although it did seem to subside quite a bit.
That's what Davey had said.
Yeah. Well, we'll dive into it a little bit here. Simply put, leading up to the release, Dave Franco's company, does he have the company with his wife?
Alison Brie.
Alison Brie? No,
I'm
okay.
not
So
sure.
either way,
Yeah.
the company was accused of stealing the idea from a script that was submitted to them a couple of years prior. They say that they never actually read the script, all that hoopla. The exact reason why I cannot read your Freddy ideas if you send them to me. This is what they're going through. And look, my phone's even like, make sure you tell them about this shit. But yeah, basically, it's amounted to nothing at this point. It doesn't look like Dave Franco's company is going to be held liable for anything crazy. And if so, it's probably going to be settled outside of court anyway. So the release is happening for Together, and I could not be happier about it. I will say that right out. We watched this movie. We walked out of it about a half hour ago. We have not said word one to each other about it.
Deliberately, yes.
Deliberately. And I will be the front runner because, as you know, in the horror show, we do our reviews. We talk about our overall thoughts. Then we talk about the story, the acting, the effects, the filmmaking, all of those good things in turn. And I'm going to start off by saying this is one of my favorites of the year, if not my favorite of the year. I loved this film so much more than I thought I would, because I'm a pretty good body horror fan, but they did so much more with this movie than I was anticipating. And there were two times specifically that I legitimately got goosebumps all over my body, and more times than that where I was legitimately scared. And at least one image in particular is going to stay with me for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And it's not any of the ones that you might think. It's not any of like the core conceit. It's someone in a bed.
Yeah.
That
got me.
Oh my God. This movie did so much for me on so many levels. It scared me. It endeared me to the characters while also keeping me at a healthy distance from the characters in an interesting way like I've never seen before. And it did so many things that I wasn't expecting, and it's the kind of filmmaking that I champion as far as thinking outside the box, both story-wise and execution-wise. And some people might be turned off by some of the CG effects and stuff, but it is not my concern at all. I loved this film. It's easily a 4.5 to 5 out of 5 for me. So I'm getting that right out of the way. That's how much I enjoyed this. So
There you go.
maybe I'm overblowing it for these two gentlemen, but who wants to jump in next?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So, yeah, I really dug this one, too.
Okay.
I was looking forward to it. And especially, with the way the trailer just gives you kind of a hint of what's going on here. And there's a lot for you to sort of like think about and ruminate over before you see the movie. And I was surprised at how they actually handled everything in the movie. It went differently than I had anticipated, and I really enjoyed that. The first half hour, 45 minutes were... Oh my gosh, I felt very vulnerable because I've gone through something in my own personal life within the last 9 months to a year.
Really.
And so there are elements in there where I was like, oh my gosh, this is making me think about my own life a little too much.
I was unfortunately in that exact same camp. It made me, it was uncomfortably surreal, some of what I was seeing on screen, and
Yeah, but having said that, the performances worked for me. The places that the story went and everything, there were some surprises where I was like, oh, I think it's going to end up going this way in the middle of the movie, and it's continued to surprise me. Really love the music here.
Yes.
I know we'll talk about that more in depth, but that's something that stood out in a good way for me. Great performances. Yeah, I think it's got some legitimate, well-earned scares that usually those things don't get me, but same kind of thing where I had a cold goosebump like shoot through my body
all the way, like my legs. I was like,
yeah,
it never usually hits my legs.
It was weird. It was like this wave of chill, and so that's something that doesn't always happen. I really enjoyed it as well. I'd probably say 4 stars. I would say first blush. I still really love Sinners as far as like favorite movies of
That's
the year.
the one it's going to contend with for me. Yeah, those are the top 2 for me.
But this one was really great. I thought the way that they handled their lore within the movie, the way they unfurled everything was done really well. And not not everything is over-explained. Like a dick that just won't get out.
It just unfurls.
And it's this was good eating, so I'm happy.
Just get out.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean.
It took me a second. It took me a second to hear what you actually said and process it.
And there are some barbs of dialogue in this where then you want something stiffer and
Oh yeah.
yeah.
You sure you don't want something stiffer?
The writing was really clever in this. I mean, I guess I'll be the only slight contrarian because I did really, really dig this, but it's more like a 3.5 for me.
Okay.
The stuff that hit really close to home really just kind of bothered me.
Yeah, honestly, I was watching it feeling like
I
Fuego's going to identify with a lot.
I
this
felt
movie.
like I was reliving certain aspects of my life, and not only that, there's certain instances where you're like, I don't really want to be the fly on the wall for this sort of thing, and that's kind of what it did.
That's fair.
A good amount of
that's
uncomfortability.
to the movie's credit when you say
it is.
Yeah.
And
It's
also,
a level of discomfort that we don't normally get.
Yeah, and my nitpicks are just like a few things about the lore, for instance. I was chatting off camera with Davey about a little thing here and there. Well, no, about like maybe some inconsistencies within, how there's a manifestation.
I didn't think there was any discussion.
Yeah,
you made me a liar.
No, but what I was most surprised by about this was how darkly comedic it was, because I laughed out loud a numerous amount of times, and not just from like cringy craziness going down, just clever bits of dialogue and things of that nature. So it had a very sick, twisted sense of humor about it that I really appreciated. It was one of my favorite bits. Beautifully shot. That like it helps when you have these two who are a real life item. Because I could really believe not just the moments of love that's like the saving grace, but I also believe the tension too, because there's no perfect couple out there where there's no squabbling,
this must have
bickering.
been cathartic, dude. They must have been able to get out some shit in the acting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
think about how much you can rehearse when you're married to that person or with that person.
Yeah. And
rehearse one scene in particular.
and I, even though I was, because we know this is about merging of things. And whatnot, but I did really...
That's the impression that we get.
Exactly.
That's the impression that I get.
The boss tones.
This is why Davey fits.
Yeah.
Like a slab of meat between 2 slices of bread.
Speaking of needle drops, there's one right near the end of this movie, which doesn't spoil anything. But the moment I saw the vinyl, I knew exactly what they were going
I didn't know.
to
I was
play.
like, are they going to go for a big laugh here? Because all I was expecting... I won't say what I was expecting because it'll ruin it.
It was so satisfying and funny and just perfect for the scene. I mean, there is a lot of good payoff to things that are foreshadowed.
There are a bunch of callback. There are callback lines that mean one thing at the beginning and then something totally different.
So much more poignancy at times, too.
Yeah, really good.
That's such good writing.
It is good writing, yeah. It was very well written, and I appreciated when the tone shifted, as it did. And so this was maybe even upon a second watch, because I feel like I have to watch this with a certain somebody, and I'm curious how they would think about it. So.
It's a movie that encourages you to go through the rough times with the one that you truly love.
It's a great date
Don't be surprised if we don't see Fuego for a few weeks, if he goes to watch this.
He comes back looking a little different or something. Fuego, there's...
Lordy.
Fuego, do you have boobs?
And you're somehow a little shorter.
You always had long, beautiful hair, but this looks different.
It's particularly lush.
It's an interesting look for you.
Oh, fuck. All right.
Okay, so overall impressions, yeah. I guess it's a definite recommend from all of us. So.
Absolutely. So, story-wise, I mean, the long and short of it is... It's about a couple who are, they've been together for a very long time, and it is, again, played by Dave Franco and Alison Brie, who are a real-life couple, and they've reached a rocky patch, so to speak, where Dave Franco doesn't appear to be quite as interested physically as she would like him to be. They're kind of fading apart, and yet their lives have put themselves in a position where they're both moving because Allison Brie is taking a teaching job that she's been offered. That's a great opportunity. And Dave Franco is doing his best to be a supportive boyfriend slash fiance. And
boy partner.
Yeah, boy partner. Yes.
Boy partner Tim.
yes. So he's doing his best to be that, and so they move, and the tension.
And they're in Washington, right? From what I saw on the
It
license
has to
plate.
be.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I might as
knew
well.
it was
in the
Pacific
Northwest.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he's Bella and Edward's cousin, like
Yeah.
neighbors. You
All
know what
the
I mean?
lush,
Like
the lush greenery. Was
this
just a
might as
delight
well have
to
taken
see.
place in that fucking same place in Oregon. But still, anyway. They move to this place. She starts her new job, and Dave Franco is trying to maintain a semblance of his former life. He's a band member, and he's still trying to make it happen, even long distance. And basically, when they're out on a hike one day, they fall into a cave that has some mysteriousness going on that we catch a glimpse of earlier in the film, with a very, there's so many reasons I love this movie, but the fact that John Carpenter had a presence,
Sure.
so to speak,
Yeah.
without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
I loved that, and it set a tone that I was like, okay,
That particular spot, I'm going to hold off until we get to the
fair.
production design
But
and stuff.
yeah, so they fall into this cave with some questionable water, we'll say, and
which we get some context about at the very beginning.
right. That's what
without spoiling
right.
stuff,
Exactly.
yeah.
So Dave Franco, because they're stuck down there a bit, they get thirsty. He drinks some of the water, and the rest of the film happens, where basically they get out, and when they're in too close of proximity, things start sticking together. And they can't understand why. Of course, mildew is a possibility.
Yes, indeed.
But as it happens, like as their bodies try and grow closer together, their minds are growing farther apart, and it's sort of that dichotomy that plays out within both of their lives. Without spoiling anything, that's kind of how things go, and
you're
it's the
actually
resolution
making me
of that.
think of something, that was some subtext, but also visualized in the film, is the fact that there is this theme of the head is doing one thing, but the body is doing another
Right.
thing, and so there is that counterbalance even
From the very
in
beginning.
the dynamic of their relationship
Exactly.
too.
Yep.
Like
100%.
they still love each other even if their bodies are
Yes.
being
Yeah.
pushed away from one another, and so.
But that's part of the brilliance of
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Like the script, I think, is really, really, really smart.
Yep.
And the execution of the script is really well done. That's why it has to, like, this is definitely Substance Strange, darling level of enjoyment for me at the movies, which doesn't happen that often, which is why I'm jumping it up to that 4.5 to even 5 level.
lived
Because
up to the hype,
it lived up to the hype. It kept me off guard. I did not expect, both of the times that goosebumps went through my body had nothing to do with the central conceit of the movie, and I loved that. Like
Bit of a subplot,
the first
yeah.
time when you see, let me give this as a hint, the Willy Wonka living situation
Sure.
moment was disturbing AF, dude. Holy shit, that got me so good. So good. And like I felt like, it's so funny because I'm sitting in between these two guys, and like it got me so good that I felt like a little like a bitch. Like I felt like a bitch sitting between these guys, because I was like, that got me so good, and I audibly like reacted. And like I could see these guys laughing at me, so I didn't look at either one of them.
I didn't laugh at you.
No, I know. Like I
I
could,
stayed
but
still
in my
a couple
mind,
times when you went. When you
it
had
got
your
me.
little
Like it
jokes,
got
yeah.
me numerous times,
Yeah.
and but that's part of what I love. That doesn't happen to me that much anymore. So I loved that it could make me feel that way. And the story, the way it played out, a lot of it, I was like, I'm loving this so much. If they don't stick the landing, it's going to be a humongous bummer.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be your mileage may vary when it comes to the ending of this film. I
That's
loved
fair.
it.
That's fair.
I loved it. But I do think it's going to be your mileage may vary.
We were discussing right before you came back in as to whether,
Damn it!
like, well, no, like,
I'm a double liar.
No, we're not going to say anything specific.
No, I
but,
thought the ending was great.
wondering how it was going to end.
Right,
and,
fair.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
where
So
they're going to go.
yeah, so that's my thoughts on the story. Again, a little long-winded, but I have a lot to say. I don't get a chance to gush about horror movies that often, and when I do, I'm gonna take the opportunity.
There you go.
Get ready for the 30-minute review, everyone.
Yeah, at
We
least.
still have a lot of ground
There's
to
3 of us.
cover.
It's usually 15 minutes a person, so it might reach 40, 45, so.
Yeah, I
Any
mean,
other thoughts on
story.
the story?
Yeah, I don't have much else to say. I mean, I think that you're dead on. Like, I love the way that they tease that lore at the very beginning of the film, and then we see it actualize with the couple, and we get to see the long drawn out version of it, you know, and a more complex version of it with 2 people. So yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to add other than I really enjoyed the story. I love the way they handled it. There is, you know, with Alison Brie's character having this new job at the school, there's another person that works at the school that gets worked into the story as well, and I thought that character worked really well.
Especially where it went.
Yeah, performed very well, and again, some things that you're just not really expecting that add to just this awesome lore that they're building. So yeah, I mean, the story for me totally worked, and I was worried, like, not worried, but maybe about halfway through, I was like, with one of the characters, I'm like, oh, am I just not gonna like this character as much? But then there's like things kept evolving and turning, and where I was like, I like everyone in this movie for different reasons.
Yeah,
So
I know who you're talking about, yeah.
story went well for me.
Yeah, definitely for me too. I mean, I kind of understood the conceit of how they were gonna have this start happening based on Revelation. So I mean, there was just a tiniest tinge of predictability. If I'm gonna try to
Fair.
like
No, that's
balance
fair.
out the gush
No, yeah,
fest
give
a
us
little
the-
bit,
give us the pluses
you
and the
know,
minuses,
but you know, and just back to some of the themes that were explored in the script. Like, there are themes of like we already touched on, the whole sacrificing for a partner and how that can alter the power dynamic a little bit. Like, I've been like many years ago, not in my current relationship but in a previous one, in a situation just like Franco's, where sacrifice, you know, like creativity, relocation, all these different things, it demasculates you significantly. So I could really relate to his character in a lot of ways with what he was struggling with as a, you know, kind of failed musician, still like clinging.
I didn't
you know,
put that even
and all
together.
that
Jesus.
stuff. All that stuff got
Oh,
to
yeah.
me big time,
Damn.
dude. I mean, you can probably relate.
Yeah,
to
I
a
can
lot of
relate to
stuff,
that,
too.
and then some of the other stuff was the
Yeah.
flip of the physical stuff, and in my situation was the flip.
Vice versa,
And so
yeah.
I was sitting
Yeah.
there thinking, well, oh man, this is like,
Yeah.
it's, you know, it's still sort of giving me flashbacks.
Yeah. Well, and then also
The movie
had a-
really is like, hey, remember this?
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
mirror.
yeah.
Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
You know, on your
Yeah.
failures.
And it
Mirror,
also,
mirror.
yeah, and it also has a lot to say about just codependency too, in a
Yeah.
lot of ways, and the fact that, you know, even as the power dynamic is shifting, though, there is still that desire to just cling, you know, even when the writing is on the wall about certain things, and so it just had a lot to say to me, much more so in that relational dynamic side, even more so than like the lore of what happens to them and, you know, all of the backstory behind that. I still think there's a few inconsistencies. There's one prior example of something similar happening that didn't have the full payoff as to what had been seen a few other times. And then there was also a little bit of a because movie with somebody's involvement happening like very quickly, and I guess that was it was an interesting surprise because I didn't see it coming, you know, but I guess maybe there were a couple of hints and indications and things of that nature.
There
but
were some hints, yeah.
Yeah.
I picked up on one thing in particular. I'm not going to say it
After the
specifically.
fact, but when I picked
Yeah.
up on,
I noticed it right away at when they
I was like,
when
wait,
he was
there's-
having dinner with
I
them.
was like that. I thought I was like interesting design, and then when I realized, I was like, that wasn't a design. But that's what's so fucking good about
It's those
movies
little
like this,
details.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I picked up on was sort of like, you know, juxtaposing, or I guess just straight up comparing the complacency or comfortability that you get emotionally with someone
Yep.
that sort of foreshadows the, you know, this idea of, you know,
Yeah, is it-
melding together
Is
physically.
it love or is it complacency? And
Yeah.
your lives have blended together so much that it's literally physically hard to pull yourselves away from each other.
Yeah.
And
so
Alison Brie's character says at one point, right? She's like, I don't even remember my life
Before him,
Yeah.
You know?
God, I love this.
Yeah.
You keep reminding me of great lines. It's just
There's a
making me
lot of
love
great
this
dialogue in
more.
movie.
Yeah,
Damn.
it is a great, I mean, it's on there literally on the screen, but it is also like a metaphorical kind of thing that they're doing too.
I
you know,
adored it.
bonding with somebody.
So, I mean, let's transition to the acting. I mean, none of this would have been as effective as it was without, as we mentioned, the real life relationship but it speaks to the fact that Dave Franco is a talent. Alison Brie, I know, has been a talent. I loved Glow. I thought she was fantastic in that
She was on
women's
the
wrestling
Community
show.
right?
Yeah.
that
Well,
like
she's
one of the
been.
first
She was in
things that-
Community, yeah, and she was
Yeah.
hilarious in Community.
Yeah.
But like, she's stretching her chops
Oh, yeah.
so many ways. And Franco, again, obviously his brother is
Nice to
is
see
the
him stepping out of the
yeah,
shadow
for
of his
sure.
brother,
I think
man,
this for
you
sure
know?
solidifies him as his own fucking
Yeah.
fuck my brother. My brother's a
'Cause he did so
fucking
many movies
womanizing
with his
motherfucker.
brother,
like
that's it,
this,
yeah.
I am the real Franco.
Yeah, it
I am
was
the
like-
talented Franco.
It was like
you
a
know?
guilty by association kind
Yeah,
of thing,
yeah.
perhaps,
But I
after
love
a
it.
while,
So they were great. I thought the other teacher, the neighbor, I thought he
Yeah.
was really, really good. And
I don't
especially,
think I've ever seen that guy before.
I
He
hadn't
was
either.
awesome.
He
No.
looked familiar.
He
like, I've
gave
seen
me
him
of some vibes
something,
too. Like
but
there
I
was
couldn't-
something I couldn't
pinpoint
tell
it.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I agree. I got that same vibe. So I loved the acting in this. The friend, like
I thought
Alison
the
Brie's
friends-
friend, was
I
a
thought
little
the friend circle was all
stereotypical,
just kinda
little
lame and one
yeah,
note
yeah,
and
yeah.
whatever.
But I don't think they were intended to be much more than that. But I
Yeah.
agree. Compared to everyone else, they did stand out as being a little flatter.
Yeah.
So yeah, acting wise, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, I thought the acting was great here. Again, Dave Franco, Alison Brie, awesome chemistry. It's a very, small cast, relatively
It is just
speaking. There are
three, yeah.
ancillary characters, but yeah, it's just like three mains,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much. And I think, weren't they both in, or Alison Brie, she was in the Rental movie that Dave Franco directed? Did you
Oh,
ever see
yeah,
it?
I think so.
And, like, I really enjoyed that, so I think there's something about what Dave Franco brings to the table, not only as an actor, but somebody that has directed before, that I think probably makes you, a better actor and easier to work with in these films.
Totally.
And
Vin told me also that Vince DeSanti told me that Alison Brie's really good in a movie called Horse Girl too. I haven't seen that. But
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen
she's
that.
plays a girl that's
was
like
gonna say
obsessed
that-
with horses and stuff.
yeah,
So.
and she has probably, I would say, the biggest arc here, her
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to go that way, but it did, and I was happy to see that. And yeah, and Dave
Yeah,
Franco,
they
man,
had
ebb
to
and
stick that
flow,
landing.
for
Dave,
sure.
Dave
Yeah.
Franco, there's some stuff in here where he's acting the hell out of it. So
Oh, he's got some very physical moments.
yeah.
And so does she, but I mean, there's one in like the shower, for instance.
Oh
where,
my God.
Yeah.
where you're
So
really
cool.
starting to first realize the extent of what this magnetic connection and how it manifests
Flavors of
itself.
Terrified. If you remember
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
premiere
Yeah.
scene in Terrified, like
Yeah.
the first real scary scene in Terrified. Yeah. Fuck, they did so good. Oh, I love being able to glow about movies like this. All right, so glow about movies. I didn't even realize.
And I mean, without just beating that redheaded dead horse a little bit more on my thoughts on the acting, I loved when they were in these comedic predicament sort of situations. Like there is one at a school that just had me.
That was
It was a riot.
and one
man.
particular shot that like you're like oh.
Yeah.
I was
Every man in
shocked.
the
I was
theater-
shocked.
Every man in the theater was
I was
cringing.
like,
the
are they
guy
gonna-
next to me
are they
did the
gonna-
same thing. He was like, oh!
Yeah. Yeah.
And you knew it had to happen.
of
like
course.
it was a
And it
matter
was
of
a
time.
payoff,
You're like,
man.
are they gonna? And they
Yeah, and I also just felt the angst of his like solidarity, like working on music and just the disconnect, but also he has kind of a family thing that he's going through,
Yeah.
which seems to have been like a big like contributing factor to the distance
Well,
with
it's
his wife. And so
it feels like childhood trauma that
Yeah.
he hasn't fully processed,
the
or at
scene where
least
he
hasn't
talks
gone
about
through.
the rat bit,
Amazing. Oh yeah.
which was a very
God.
very great monologue.
Yeah, the whole
Yeah.
Rat King scene was dope too.
Yeah.
Like that's what those are called.
Yeah.
When rats' tails get all tangled up
Oh,
and stuff,
yeah.
they're called a Rat
Yeah.
King. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
but-
Rat King from Teenage Mutant Ninja
No, it's
Turtles
not-
does
it's
not
not
show up in the
that.
movie. That's not in the spoiler section.
hidden crossover.
Yeah.
But-
Dude.
But yeah, so okay, so from the acting, let's talk about before we get to the effects, which I think are worth talking about in so many ways. Let's talk about the filmmaking. I think specifically the production design of the cave
Yeah.
and
Gave me
what
major
it
Empty Man
is.
vibes.
Empty Man, yeah.
The end of Empty Man was what it
Empty Man on
reminded me of.
steroids a bit.
Yeah.
Loved the production design of the film. Loved the sound design of the film.
It contributes heavily.
So much sound was used to lead you to tension or scares, and it was done so well. And finally, cinematography wise, I mean,
Excuse me.
I can't say quite blown away, but I will definitely say way above par.
Yeah.
Way below par.
Yeah.
You know what I'm going for.
Better.
Below par is
better.
technically better, but it
Yes.
doesn't sound better.
Yeah.
So I think
I'm not
they
a golf guy,
above
so now
board.
I'm trying to remember.
Above board.
above board. Yeah, no, they rocked out most of it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Regarding filmmaking, I think this is definitely above average skill and nearing, like it's high quality, nearing the best you can get to me. Like it's so well thought out and so well executed that like I would have a really hard time being like, you could have done this here, you know.
Yeah, they did a really good like the stuff that's more kind of like the mundane or normal scenes in the movie are shot in a traditional sense, and then when you get to some of the body horror stuff, that's when they unleash the creativity. So what's really cool about that is those scenes with the body horror felt totally different and were shot much more creatively, so it gives you that extra layer and that different flavor that I really enjoyed. And yeah, sound design is killer. I loved the music. I love when you can work in like there's all sorts of instruments you can use and all sorts of ways that you can attack composing a score, especially in modern films. You know, we see a lot of different flavors even just in horror that work really well. Yeah. I love when they go back to strings. Like, I love it. Just gives me a Hitchcockian kind of feel.
And there is one bit where it's like the
yeah, and
it
this film
ramped it up.
is, you know, maybe a bit more balls to the wall than something Hitchcock would do, but there were elements where I'm like, I'm getting sort of those kinds of vibes, and like for me, it's the music that kind of helps usher me into that. So yeah, really appreciated all of that. Yeah, production design great. The film looks amazing. Yeah. I don't got much else to say. You're so good. You're too good.
No, that's why I go first. Try and keep it short.
Yeah, set the precedent up there. No, I mean, just to piggyback off on what you were saying, man, just the green serenity of like the locale where they actually location scouted to film this and everything did juxtapose so just insanely in a lot of ways with what was going on, you know, behind closed doors or in a cave or, you know, whatever it may be. And I mean, when sound drops out or gets distorted, especially when Franco early on is starting to realize that things aren't quite right with him after being in this cave and stuff, I mean, it just added, like, I felt like I was just right there experiencing it with him in, you know, a very profound manner, and it was unnerving. And, you know, it's tough to do a good jump scare sort of thing, you know.
It has to be earned.
It did, yeah, and this did it very tactfully, but yet adeptly in the same sort of sense, because I don't always go for jump scares. I feel like they're kind of cheap at times, but when they're earned, as you were mentioning, I mean, Hereditary is one of the few that has one of the best that's ever been made.
You just reminded me though, one of the best moments in Hereditary is the and then the reveal of her upside down smashing. There was a similar moment to that where you just hear
downstairs
working.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was like, it was so good.
Something running right into a glass
so
door.
good, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so good.
And there's even the I don't, as far as maybe this is more of like editing and stuff, there's a few like dream sequences towards the beginning of the film, and like I started getting this feeling, oh my gosh, when is the dread from the dreams, when is that dread going to bleed into the real world? And you sort of feel like Dave Franco's character is worrying about the same exact thing.
They do such a good job of that, you almost don't notice the transition, because they do something, you're like, wait, is he still dreaming? And then it's like, oh no,
there's like
that shit actually happened. One shot in particular where it's just the silhouette and you just see an eye big and you hear and I was like, oh shit.
Oh,
like,
yes.
That one shot largely in darkness was like, dude, mind-bending talent behind this movie. Truly, like that one shot, it's a static shot, and when it came on I was like, oh my god, like I again audibly reacted like, Jesus Christ. Like,
there's some nightmare fuel here.
For sure. Like,
yes, there is.
For sure. And
even
like,
early on.
It's so surprising and refreshing, and it's a horror fan's dream. Again, I see so much shit, and so much is basic, and I say so often, oh, we've seen it before, but done better. This is like it's so refreshing when you're getting like, you can tell that this is like a whole new flavor. Like, this is a new voice. You know, we don't get a lot of this, and I adore it. So let's get into the effects of it, okay? Which I was originally going to be like, I'm going to talk all about how this is like a 95% practical effect movie. And then a few other scenes happened, and I'm like, okay, I can't say that anymore. Can't say that anymore. But overall, I loved the effects. And the CG effects, while some people, I'm sure there's going to be some cinematic eagles out there going, the CG was terrible.
Should have kept it practical.
There's always someone. There's always someone. But, like, dude, the CG was great for what they were doing. Like, again, it's treading new ground. We've seen it done similarly, perhaps, but not to the full extent and not to the length in which we saw it in this film. And but outside of those CG effects, the practical effects were incredible and so cool to see play out. I adored the effects in this movie.
Yeah, I thought they were great. And I'm not one of those, like, I don't know. To me, it's just like, what does the piece call for? Like, does it call for practical? Does it call for CG? A combination of the two? I don't have feelings about, like, oh, CG doesn't belong at all. Sometimes there's just some things you want to do that you have to go about that way. And I feel like with what they wanted to visualize here and show the audience, that CG was just the way to go. But there were some shots, some like kind of body contortion kind of stuff where I was like, I can't tell if that's real or CG. I was having a tougher time with that. So
Allison Brie must have gotten flexible.
Yeah.
Or they had some sort of acrobatic stand-in, you know, so like
something
I mean,
like
she
that.
was in Glow, so she can do athletic shit.
Yeah,
So.
and I think there was only one shot where I was like, oh, you know, that could look better, or that could look a little, maybe it could have, you know, maybe they could have gone practical with one shot in specific.
Okay.
But I think for the most part, what they're doing here really works. And what's great is, like, as everything is, you know, unfurling, you're wondering, like, where exactly is this going? And I think the effects play a great part in that.
Yeah. When it was at its strongest in some cases, you know, it was like a little bit of both practical, like, you know, maybe prosthetics of connectivity, but then also some digital augmentation to see, like, pulsing veins and movement, you know, on different parts of the body. There is a really cool design of something that is in a cave in the third act that is most definitely something that I thought was state of the badass art, dude. I thought it was, and it is practical.
That was practical.
It is practical,
right?
from what I could tell, and it was awesome.
Yeah, and even
I mean,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No.
There's some effects early on, especially with one of those scares you're talking about, the Willy Wonka situation, where some of the makeup and everything is all practical, and those are some, like, I don't know, it's some stuff it's gonna be tough to get that out of my head.
Even the quick cut twos when he's telling his story.
Yeah.
The quick cut to of the male. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, nightmare fuel. Like, again,
And then also
imagery
when
that
you
can
quick cut
easily
back to the other person in bed with said,
like, if
Sure,
I was
yeah.
the kind of parents that was willing to show their kids horror at a young age, this is one I would still purposely put till way later.
Yeah.
Because there is imagery in here that would literally permeate their nightmares for years to come.
Yeah.
That's how effective it was to me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I love that we're all pretty much on the same page. I mean, Fuego's a 3.5, you're a 4, I'm a 4.5 to 5. All in all, that's really good scores for a film. And let's be honest, guys, I'm right. So anyway, let's thank you guys very much for watching, though, especially if you've watched up to this point. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. If you guys have any comments about the film, please put them in the comments down below. We're keeping this non-spoilery, obviously, so please keep the comments non-spoilery at least until a few days after it's come out, so everyone has a chance to see this craziness and have the same fun that we were able to have. So, thanks again for watching. I've been Cecil Laird.
I'm Davey Deathray.
Gracias, Jaime, before I go.
And remember, guys, stay scared.